The 0-16 record can be beat now, as it looks like the NFL most likely will go and be to a 17-game season. In this video, I'm going to break it all down for you, rule by rule, and what it means for the Detroit Lions. Let's begin.
It's LeGarrette Blount here, man, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I just want to give you a shout out to the YouTube channel, Micro Mike, man.
Eddie Murray, former Detroit Lion. Make sure you watch Micro Mike on YouTube.
Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron. Big shout out to Micro Mike and YouTube channel, man.
Keep on talking everything Detroit Lions, and I just got to remind you, man, happy wife, happy life.
What is going on, YouTube, and welcome to Detroit Lions Talk with Micro Mike. We took all things Detroit Lions news, rumors, analysis, breakdown, and everything regarding our franchise. In this video, we got some rumors that the NFL is going to be going to a 17-game season. What does it mean for the Detroit Lions? Who do we play? How does it work out going forward for the structure of the NFL? Hey, we're going to break it all down. First off, yes, if there's a 17-game season, the Detroit Lions will be traveling to Denver to face the Broncos in Week 17, 2022 NFL season. As you know, the NFL generally in the last game of the year, the teams face their division opponent. Thus, the Detroit Lions face the Chicago Bears or the Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers, but in this scenario, that is not the case. They'll be going outside the division to face another team's opponent. I don't mind this at all when it comes to getting another game. I understand the concept of the NFL watering down the product, but it's just one more game. We've seen how the new playoff bracket worked, and it worked out fine. I enjoyed it. I'm sure other people enjoyed it as well. And I think adding another game is fine. When it comes to revenue, it should generate more revenue. And in theory, the cap should go up for other teams and potentially getting more players on a roster. That is what it would do. And look, when it comes to the NFL, we love it. It is a seasonal sport, and when you have it, it's very good on Sundays, so there's nothing wrong adding another game. But how does this structure work? Hit that like button. You want to hit that like button. Why? Well, the folks at Chat Sports, they're looking at me sideways, want to see me get to at least 200 likes in this video. So if you can help a Lions fan out, make sure you hit that like button. Let's get this video to 200 likes. For this 17-game season breakdown, the NFC North will face off against the AFC West. The Detroit Lions finished 4th place last season. The Denver Broncos finished 4th place in the AFC West. Thus, the both 4th place competitors face each other. So if it comes to a 2nd place team, face a 2nd place team, 3rd place face 3rd place, 1st face 1st. Hey, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, that seems to be even keel regarding the placing of the teams and facing against the competition from the previous year. I don't mind that at all. It is better than facing the Kansas City Chiefs if you were the Detroit Lions, who's in 4th place to face 1. So when it comes to strength of schedule, that makes it equal, and I enjoy that. Most likely, AFC will be hosting all 16 games in 2021/22. Then the NFC teams will be hosting in 2023. Why do they do this? Because it's important to have a competitive, equal playing ground. Having a competitive advantage is something that we don't want to see for the NFL. So if all the AFC teams host the game in one year, the next year it goes to the NFC teams. Thus, when it comes to the playoff, you don't want to see some NFC teams then have playoffs, some NFC teams then have home field advantage week 17, and some don't. You want to have an equal playing ground, so make one complete AFC, have all the games one year, and one complete NFC, have the games the next year. The league calendar would be pushed back a week. What does that mean? It means 17 games played over 18 weeks. There would not be a second bye week. One of the ideas that's been floating around for this 17-game season is the concept that they would add another bye week. In this scenario, that is not the case. It will just be pushed back another week. I know the players are not going to like that concept because as they're putting more body on the line, they're not getting another rest day. So that is what the plan is from that side of the ball. It'll be interesting to see how the PA deals with this situation. I'm sure they're going to have a talk with the NFL. When it comes to this game, the NFC and AFC will face off each year. So it will not be a NFC versus NFC. It will always be NFC versus AFC. The divisions that played 2 years ago will meet again. Opponents will be based on the final standings of the most recent season. Again, it's going to go by standing. It's always going to be AFC versus NFC. You're not going to see in divisional games. Thus, the competitive advantage seems to be non-existent, and that's a good thing. You want to have all teams to have the same advantage in their respected division, and that's important. Again, like we said earlier, you don't want the Detroit Lions to face the Kansas City Chiefs, and you don't want the Detroit Lions to face the Dallas Cowboys, because then the advantage and disadvantage really comes to a point where one team would have more home games compared to another in the same division. Smash that like button. Why do you want to smash that like button? Well, because I'm going against the legacy media. They're a juggernaut. I'm just one guy. We're talking Detroit Lions football here. The ESPNs, the sports centers, the NFLs, they don't like talking about the Lions. They like talking about other teams. So if you hit that like button, more Lions fans can get some content out there and listen via YouTube. All in all, I do not think this is a bad plan. I actually like the concept, again, of getting another game, and I like how it's fair. This is something that generally doesn't happen to you if you're a Lions fan. We always seem to get screwed when it comes to the bye week, when it comes to strength of schedule. This generally puts the weakest team for the weakest team, the strongest team versus the strongest team. No competitive advantage when it comes to home field advantage in the same division. It's the best case scenario from there. More revenue, more cap space, in theory, by the way, because we all know things can get worked out, but that's in theory. The negative here is not another bye week, and I think when it comes to the Players Association, they're going to have an issue with that, and I can see this being dragged out. But the formal framework is in place, and so far, not so bad. But it definitely looks like we're going to have 17 games this season, so if you're a Detroit Lions fan that dealt with 0-16, it can be beat. Just like I said in my intro, it'll be interesting to say how long it takes for a team to go 0-17. Maybe it happens next year. Maybe it never happens. But it can be beat, and then the worst franchise in NFL history comes to the Detroit Lions, and the Cleveland Browns can be thrown away as there be a new poor team some year going on. I think there's a couple things that we got to look forward to and more questions to be had about the 17-game season. Obviously, there's injuries in the NFL, and injuries take place all the time, but adding another game brings more risk of injury. And if that's the case, the NFLPA is not going to like that. Maybe they're going to want to raise. But more importantly, I think this NFL teams will have to bring on more players. Instead of having a 53-man roster, have more of a roster, 55, 57. I'm not 100% sure, but you're going to have to bring in more players just in case, because there's going to be more injuries. When the end of the season comes along, players are beat up, tore up from the floor up. We are going to need to have more bodies in there to supplement the injury, and I think that's important going forward. Also, I do think that the PA probably going to fight about this bye week thing. I think that's important to look at. I'm sure that the NFL players are going to want to have another day or week to rest up, and for them, they're going to be wanting to do something like that. When it comes to the revenue, like I said, in theory that the revenue would go up. In theory, the cap situation go up. But we're going to have to see if that would be the case, because it's important if you have another game, if there's more revenue, the teams need to be able to have more cap space. They need to have more money so they can play more players. It's a trickle-down effect, a domino effect, and that's important for this to take place. And if that's the case, guess what, folks? We're going to be talking about more players, more free agency. That's a great thing going forward. And we need to have that discussion had. They need to have this situation taken care of, because that is definitely something that's going to have to be worked out. It's really important to surround teams with players that are healthy, not just through week 1, but week 17, if this ends up being the case. more players equals more revenue to spend, equals higher cap space. All of that comes together, and that's really important for the NFL to figure out and work on with the PA. I do like having another game. It's going to be fun. For my channel, that means we'd have another watch party. We're going to have another player breakdown, team versus team breakdown, and that's cool because it brings more to this channel, even though it's just 1 week. Hey, 1 week more of content, and that's what I personally like, and I'm sure that the NFL fans out there, Detroit Lions fans out there, would love to have more content out. Hey, it brings the best out of all of us. Sundays, great days for football. Can't wait to see a little bit more. In the upcoming videos, we got the One Pride podcast on my channel at 6:30 p.m. EST. Make sure you're there Thursday. It's a fun time. We interact. Not just Lions fans show up, all sorts of fans, and we just have a good time answering questions called the mailbag segment. You guys take time to listen to the videos, so I make sure we take time to answer your questions directly. Make sure you're there. Also, on Tuesday is Spiked KoolAid, hosted by the Gridiron Blitz. Very fun show. It's a more heated show. It's really getting into the nitty-gritty, little debates going on. If you like that type of stuff, make sure you come on. And by the way, phone lines are opened up. If you want to call into the show, ask us directly, go ahead. Make sure you're there. Also, don't want to miss out on Necessary Roughness, hosted by Travis Troxel and Talks Channel, on Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST. It's a comedy show, all NFL, everyone's invited. We're just having fun, shooting the S, and having a good time.